Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ben Irwin Show. This is a very special episode because I'd like to take an episode to get away from the religious stuff. This is a topic that no one can seem to agree on because our emotions are running high and we're distorting statistics left and right. It's a hot button issue, so let's calm down and let's talk about gun control like rational adults. Up to this point in the debate, we've not had any good answers about what to do about our guns. I've been avoiding mentioning Newtown, Connecticut because I don't think it's fair to use a tragedy such as that to exploit our emotions. But nonetheless, after Columbine, Aurora, Sandy Hook, et al., the issue of gun control has become so clouded that it seems impossible to have a sensible discussion. You see, Second Amendment rights invoke a radical emotional response, just like any hot-button issue like abortion, gay rights, or Backstreet Boys versus NSYNC. So let's everyone sit down, have a cocktail, we'll lock Alex Jones in the basement, and we'll have a discussion. First, here are a few statistics. Here in America, we own the most guns. We are just under 5% of the world's population, and we got 40% of the world's civilian guns. However, when considering the number of deaths by firearm, the US is only 28th on the list. In 2009, 10.2 people out of 100,000 were killed by a gun. 2 years later, in 2011, in the UK, that same statistic is 0.25% out of 100,000 people. Of course, there are still murders in the UK that are not facilitated by guns. In fact, there are a higher percentage of stabbings versus here in America. And it's because we're all about efficiency. But good news, we know that in Europe, North America, and even Asia, murder rates have been steadily decreasing since 1995. Beyond this, I don't want to talk numbers anymore, because anyone can twist them in favor of their opinion, which is what we see in the news. And I've linked up a few of these so you can do your own homework. Now a bit of personal background. I'm fortunate enough to live in a safe area. So while self-defense is on my radar, it's not the highest of priorities. Although there is that black family that moved in. I am just kidding, God. That is a false stereotype. Because white people actually have most of the guns, and white people are crazy. It's not the African Americans you gotta worry about, it's them white honkies. And that just got real racial. So anyway, I'm not a gun aficionado. I've been out shooting for sport and it was fun. It's been a few years since I've been, but it was thrilling. So after that initial rush, you get into the flow of how accurate you can be when you shoot. And that's also fun to see how your skills progress. I've never been hunting either. In fact, I think hunting's for poor people who can't buy their own meat. So speaking of hunting, take a look at this. This is one of my grandfather's old hunting guns. This probably hasn't been used in upwards of 50 years, and don't worry, there's no bullets in it. So obviously, I don't mind guns. There, I said it. So this gun in particular, it's probably dated back anywhere from the 1940s to the turn of the century. So here's what we know. We can never get rid of all the guns. That would be unreasonable. Most, like the ones I'm holding, are pieces of technology from the 1800s. So if you outlaw them, there's going to be a black market because they're easily produced. We saw that with alcohol during Prohibition. Either that or they're going to be smuggled into the country. So even if guns aren't readily available, there's a variety of other means of killing someone. So you guys know how easy it is to make a bomb, right? I mean, we all know what a Molotov cocktail is, but to bring that idea into the 21st century, all you need is something highly combustible and some old cell phone parts. Speaking of which, it's easier to get a gun in America than it is to get a cell phone with a 2-year contract. That's kind of a problem. So it doesn't take much to kill someone, as you can imagine. If we outlaw guns, it stands to reason that we should outlaw kitchen knives, axes, baseball bats, and bombs. But wait, if you're good at what you do, you can off a guy with your bare hands. That's what she said. So maybe outlawing any other blunt object wouldn't solve the problem of murder either. Humans kill people. It's just what some of us do. Furthermore, we know that gun-free zones don't work either. Columbine, Sandy Hook, and the movie theater in Aurora where we're all gun-free zones, and look how they turned out. I mean, those are just laws based on feel-goodery, and they miss the point entirely. And all I'm saying here is that you never hear about a dude getting trigger happy up in the Bass Pro Shop, do you? So what's my point? If people are only gonna kill and guns are the means, we have to look at the context of which they kill. In the examples I've mentioned, the context is that they're crazy. Of course, passion and sometimes revenge could be a motivator, but for our case, these people are off their rockers crazy. So what's the difference between America and Europe? Well, Europe has taken a stricter stance on gun control than we have, but don't forget about Oslo, Norway in 2011. So even before these gun control measures, they took greater initiative to promote good mental health. Since crazy seems to be the root of the cause, maybe we should try to cure the crazy before we snatch up the guns. Now, given that crazy is out there no matter what, maybe more guns make sense as a means of leveling the playing field. And since we don't have a cure for crazy yet, if any given stranger out there was armed, even a crazy person might say, hey, I'm not sure I have the balls to do what I'm about to do. And I think people on the far left aren't entirely justified when they dismiss that argument as ludicrous. And maybe Chris Rock was right, and bullets should cost $5,000. Either way, I don't think we've arrived at the best solution yet, and it may be impossible to prevent tragedy from striking 100% of the time. So what do you think? I've started the discussion, now it's your turn to weigh in. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Peace.